Another good friend joining us now is Ernest McBride, who's worked here for 26?
28.
28? Sorry, I was a little off there. Yeah, 28 years. And so 28, Chuck's been gone for 6 years. He retired 6 years ago. So 22 of those were with Mr. Leonard.
Yes.
And he meant a lot to me. I actually never worked with Chuck. I just knew him very well from other avenues in life, and became good friends with him through the years. But what was it like to work every day with Chuck
for
Leonard?
Me, it's an honor. First and foremost, an honor. And I was reminded of hearing the news of his passing and everything. I was reminded of the FDR passing. There was one person that was a part of the waiting alongside as Franklin Delano Roosevelt's service began. He said, "Did you know the president?" But he said, "No, the president knew me." And that's sort of the way I feel about Chuck, is that, for everybody who watched him on television, he was always interested in your life.
Yeah.
I thought it was very unique that you could be in his presence, and he was really interested in something about you first, and then would find a piece of trivia to fit it to whoever he was speaking to at the moment. But no, an honor first and foremost. 1981 is when he started here at WTVM. I was a sophomore at Hardaway High School, and then to see those many years go by and then have the honor to work with him in the same building, an honor and everything. And but condolences to the family first and foremost and everything, but just a good man. And the thing is that we share something in common, the good conversate and love of baseball and sports. And then plenty of trivia to sort of fill in the things about sports and baseball in general. But this is Willie held court. But another place right down the street from us, Dinglewood Pharmacy, is another place he held court at. And everything. So, it's just hard. And everything. He will be sorely missed by anyone who had the honor of meeting him, shaking his hand. But I go back to my opening refrain there, is that he was really interested in what was going on with you. And that's very unique, to meet someone and they were interested in how your life was going and how you're doing, and appreciate you watching him every morning, him and Cheryl on TV, and before that Alicia Smith and everything. So a true icon, a blessing to be first of all, a co-worker, friend, and everything. He attended my wedding. I thought that was really interesting as well. So, definitely one of the people when I got this position, and you wanted to invite him to a special day in your life and everything. And I'm glad that he was an attendee and everything. But wow, he loved a good laugh as well. He loved humor. He loved to laugh, and anybody who met him cannot forget those piercing blue eyes of his and everything.
Chuck did have some pretty blue eyes.
He did. No, seriously. But
I never told him that. But.
No, but that's one of the things that anyone who's had the pleasure of meeting him would definitely remember. And everything. But just a good-natured man. And the thing that for me personally is that I was not born in this part of the country, but through his work and reporting and everything, he told the stories of the people of this part of the country. So not only did I get to know him, but through his stories about people in this region, I got to know the region and everything. So it was like a double blessing in a way. To get to know him on a personal level, co-worker, friend, but then to have him go out and cover the stories of the people who lived in West Georgia and East Alabama. That's something that actually drew me to love this living here, and it was through the stories and the storytelling that he did in his life and everything. So
I think something too, and you can tell me this as a longtime viewer of the station, and you worked here for so long too. Chuck was firsthand to world news many times from here in Columbus, and what I mean by that is, all during the 90s. I mean, you think about military conflicts that we had in the 90s. Nobody more involved in that than Fort Benning.
Very much so.
Also, early 2000s. You have 9/11, and all of a sudden Fort Benning becomes kind of the center of the universe.
Very much so. It's like having Edward R. Murrow at your disposal, but knew this literally like he was the Edward R. Murrow of this town, of this place and everything. And also, I think people should remember he had very much the famous radio personality, I'm trying to think of, who had his daily radio show. I'm trying to, oh goodness, we lost him. I've lost my train of thought. But anyway, but no, he was like the Edward R. Murrow of this part of the country and everything. He told the stories of the deployments and the families and, you know, the missions that they were carrying out and everything. So a man who loved his country, loved the military, but told the stories of the soldiers and their families and everything. So yes, definitely.
Which I think was a unique perspective. You're getting the Peter Jennings angle
Very much
of the big story, but you know, before that and after that each evening, you're getting the Chuck Leonard side of it that was telling you about the local guy.
Very much so.
Who is carrying out that Peter Jennings story.
Very much
you know,
so.
and I think it's
Very
kind
much
of a unique thing
Very
that he
much
was
so.
there.
And we were all better. We were blessed to have a storyteller of that magnitude in our midst.
Yeah.
And everything. You know, it wasn't a nationalized thing. It was a national story, but he brought the personal, he brought the national and mixed it with the personal. That this soldier is going off to a deployment, you know, to defend the freedoms that we enjoy and everything, but it was very much a local person that was doing that, a person that you saw in the grocery store, a person you went to church with and everything. He told their story, their deployments and everything. And yeah, we're you know, obviously we were honored to, you know, share in the storytelling and everything, but back to, you know, missing a friend and a coworker today is, you know, that's hard.
Yeah, it's difficult, especially.
It is.
Yeah, when you've
He had an everyday man quality about him. I think that's what endeared him to a lot of people. Is he had an everyday man quality about him, because sometimes people meet celebrities, not so much celebrities, but personalities who are on television, and there's like a distance or a void, but you never felt like you were being big time.
No.
You know, that's the thing. There was very much an everyday man quality about him, and that's what endeared him. And you see this in the outpouring of the sentiment since his passing and everything. There was literally not a person in Columbus, Georgia right now who is between the age of, I don't know, whatever, that doesn't know someone who knows someone that has a good Chuck Leonard story.
Yeah,
You're
right.
You know someone who has a good Chuck Leonard story. It's like the six degrees of Chuck Leonard stories and everything, whether it be at Dinglewood Pharmacy or the Winn-Dixie on Veterans or wherever. There's a good Chuck Leonard story.
And let me tell you, I'm always thankful to Chuck for he just helped me to get acclimated here.
Right.
I like to tell folks I was his hand-picked successor, and so it worked out. You know, that doesn't always work out, but it worked out for us.
Right.
And, I don't know if I didn't have that line to tell people, like that gave me a pass with some folks, because it's always when your news anchors change, it's like when your football coach changes or your preacher.
Yeah.
You're kind of like, this is not the last guy.
Right.
But the fact that I was able to, and Chuck would do this too. God bless him. He would help me out. I would say, well, you know, Chuck picked me to take his chair. Okay, so give me a pass at least that far. Right. so that helped me to get in on a good foot here in Columbus. And
like I say, I've lived. Well, I didn't say, but I've lived here since 1976. He started working here in 1981.
Yeah.
So literally, from 17 to 59, I did not know a day of not knowing who he was as a coworker or air personality.
Yeah.
That's a long time from 16 to 59.
Yeah.
And everything. So, yeah. So, you know, what a blessing. What a blessing.
Well, and I think you were a blessing to him too. And so,
it's interesting. I was just anytime I want people to know this. If there's two people if there's a trivia contest wherever you are, think of him. When there's a Braves game on, think of him. Those are the two things. One of the many things he loved in life that is just his love of baseball. He was a huge baseball fan and trivia. So anytime you gather at home to break out a game of Trivial Pursuit, or you're somewhere entering a trivia contest, think of him. And that's the best way I want people to remember him, is that he loved just that little things that you may think of as mindless information was close to him. And it's interesting, you use things to get into a conversation with people. You know, there was always a gateway to get to him to find out something interesting about you. And that's the thing, again, I want people to remember is that he was always interested in meeting you.
Yeah.
As you were interested in meeting him, he was really interested in knowing something about you and everything. So that's really an endearing part of a person. Because not too many people meet you and are really interested in what's going on with you.
Yeah.
And the fact that he could come on TV and remember, the lady who rung him up at Piggly Wiggly. They had an anecdote, they had a moment that it was a conversation that he would bring. On Tuesday I got a chance to meet, Miss Smith there at, Piggly Wiggly, and he would have the ability to do that on air and everything. And I think that's what endeared him to people, that he had a conversation with him on Tuesday afternoon and you heard about the interaction on air on Wednesday morning.
Yeah.
That's a very unique factor. To do it in television is even more so unique. It's more of a radio thing.
Sure.
But to do it on television makes it, that's the reason why literally there's enough people in Columbus, Georgia right now, you could literally, it's kind of hard not to bump into a person that didn't have a moment or interaction with him over the last 40 years. So yeah.
That's what I've always tried to stress to young folks in this business too, is everybody remembers their interaction with the news,
right?
Either being on it or meeting the news anchor somewhere, or
that's right. Those
are memories that folks in different career fields, they'll always remember that.
For sure.
And so it's something I have to remind myself sometimes too. I especially remind my kids. A lot of times, like, y'all better act right in public.
It's that thing that people say, is that people may not remember what you did for them, but they remember how you made them feel.
Yes. And Chuck Leonard,
that was the secret sauce.
He made a lot of people feel good.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. That literally he brought the what was interesting was what was you thought was extraordinary was common, and it was common to him, and which means that it was an honor for him to meet you.
Yeah.
That's what people remember.
That's cool.
That's cool. That's what I want. Another thing I want people to know about them. It was an honor for him to meet you. And that's what makes this man, that's the reason why we're remembering what we're remembering today and recognizing, the life that he lived.
Absolutely. He touched many of us here. Ernest, thanks for coming on, brother. You brought some.
I enjoyed it as always.
Brought some
I got to
great
get back to
insight to
doing my
us.
other day job.
Yeah, we got to put him to work.